Welcome back. It's Thursday, and that means it's time to talk about all manner of comic book related TV shows. So we've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we got Arrow, we got Flash, and also I have watched the Riverdale pilot because that is technically a comic book show too. So if you want to ask me about that, feel free. Got a few things to say about that one, but don't want to make the show too long. So let me know in the chat room if you guys can hear the sound of my voice, and then we'll get started. I've been kind of going back and forth on Twitter with this angry Iris fan for a while. So I got a little distracted during Impact. I just tweeted the person a link and challenged them to show up here and get in the chat room so we can actually hash this out. Because, yeah, there's no way that person is going to win this argument. Yeah, but who knows? I hope that person shows up. Actually, let me just see what their handle is on Twitter. Their handle is B Bizzle Howard. Yeah, B Bizzle Howard. So I have challenged. I have thrown the gauntlet down. I have challenged challenged at B Bizzle Howard to show up tonight. So let's see if he or she accepts the challenge. Anywho, let's get started because all this bitching about the Flash has made me very anxious to bitch about the Flash. So let's bitch about the Flash. Season 3, Episode 11, Dead or Alive. So, this metahuman cop, Gypsy, from HR's universe, shows up to arrest him because they have laws against traversing dimensions, which he broke. And she found him because he had been broadcasting this book that he's writing across the multiverse somehow. Seems to me that he was really asking to get caught by doing that, but that's the least of this episode's problems. So to stop Gypsy from taking HR back to their own world, putting him on trial and executing him, Cisco challenges her to a trial by combat. Because those are still a thing on her world somehow. I'll get to it. So against all probability, Cisco wins, and then he almost hooks up with her. Because this is the CW. Meanwhile, Iris is investigating some big arms dealer that's rumored to be in town. Barry asks her to back off of it because it's incredibly dangerous and she could get hurt. And she promises that she will, and then immediately asks Wally to help her take this guy down themselves, which turns out to be surprisingly easy. And that's about it. Okay. Not as bad as last week's episode. Wasn't good, but it was somewhat less bad, so that's something. The problem with this episode wasn't so much Barry doing something absolutely asinine or unbelievably stupid like he always does, but in all the little things that were stupid. For example, Julian has determined that Barry needs to get faster to save Iris, because, like every fucking problem on this godforsaken show, it's going to be solved by Barry getting faster. How original. But this is all based on the assumption that Barry, Iris, and Savitar are going to end up in the exact same place, in the exact same situation, when they already know that they've changed certain events, so it likely won't happen that way now. Of course, nobody bothers to bring that up. It's also not taking into account one very important thing. If memory serves, Savitar killed Iris, not because Barry wasn't fast enough to stop him, but because Barry was wasting time talking to Savitar when he could have actually been doing something. So it seems to me that if Barry really wants to save Iris, the solution is not for him to get faster, the solution is for him to stop being an idiot. Iris is doomed. Then there's this Gypsy plot. If HR knew that his world had very strict laws prohibiting unauthorized dimensional travel, why the hell would he broadcast his fucking book across the multiverse? Didn't he kind of figure that he'd get found out if he did that? Did he want to get caught, or is he just really stupid? Oh, who the hell am I kidding? We all know the answer. So Gypsy is pissed off that Team Flash are harboring a fugitive from the law. Sweetie, you don't know the half of it. They're actually harboring quite a few fugitives from the law. It's a good thing she didn't check out the cells in the particle accelerator where all those metahuman prisoners are starving to death, wasn't it? So to stop Gypsy from taking HR, Cisco challenges her to a trial by combat. Now, if you're wondering why a modern, civilized, technologically advanced society would still not only condone, but enforce such an archaic and ridiculous exercise, don't worry, it's only because this plot twist is really stupid. So Barry tells Cisco that he believes in him. Then Barry and HR decides that it's a good idea to sneak attack this woman, who, may I remind you, is a fucking cop. And then when that doesn't work, Cisco is rightfully upset because Barry had just told him that he believed in him, only to immediately prove that he did not. Now Cisco is really upset that his friend doesn't believe in him, and he's probably about to get killed, but then Barry goes to talk to him, and then ends up talking about himself instead. Because Barry Allen is a self-absorbed prick. But then Julian figures out a way that Cisco might be able to defeat Gypsy, or at least get the jump on her or something. Because Julian is the only person on this fucking team that is actually being useful right now. So Cisco starts training with his So Cisco begins training with his powers, but he can't control his teleporting very well, which is strange because he was teleporting with perfect accuracy just a few episodes prior. I mean, hell, he teleported with perfect accuracy the very fucking first time he teleported, but now all of a sudden he can't? Why? Because the plot demands it. And because these writers are fucking stupid. So Cisco and Gypsy have the trial by combat, so they fight and they teleport across a bunch of different dimensions. They stop by Cat Grant's office on Supergirl's Earth for a minute if you honestly care. And against all odds, Cisco wins, eventually. Well, no, he doesn't exactly win so much as Gypsy just sort of gives up after he nails her one time. Because this girl, who is some kind of legend on her Earth, who has never once lost a battle, just throws in the towel when she could easily keep fighting. Even though this was supposed to be a fight to the death. Yeah, okay. But if it was to the death, then her and Cisco couldn't tease a kiss afterward, because this is the CW, damn it, and we can't have a trial by combat without shipping! So the upshot is that HR gets to live, but he can never go home. Not that it matters, he'll probably be dead by the end of the season anyway. Meanwhile, over in the Iris subplot, because Iris gets her own subplot this week, she's investigating this big nefarious arms dealer that's supposed to be in town. In a very rare moment of sanity and good judgment, Barry asks her to not look into this because she's already on borrowed time with this Savitar thing, so why poke the bear even more? And yeah, that's actually a pretty reasonable request. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I'm actually agreeing with Barry Allen. I feel like punching myself. Ugh, that's what this has done to me. That's what this fucking show has done to me. So anyway, Iris promises Barry that she'll lay off this thing, and then, in the very next scene, she's convincing Wally to help her take down this arms dealer themselves, before the police have a chance to do it. Now, granted, it's Wally, and he's way more competent than Barry is, but this still strikes me as absolutely idiotic. But what else could we expect? After all, Iris learned from the Master. It's like, why? Okay, if you know where he is, but just send Wally in there by himself. Why did she have to... Fuck... I'm getting ahead of myself. So they steal the arms dealer's location off Joe's desk. They go to the place. Iris breaks the lock off the door, which begs the question of how the guy got in there if the door was locked from the outside, and confronts this infamous arms dealer herself. Now, you may be wondering why Wally couldn't just do that. Why Iris had to go in there at all. And that's a very good question. It's not like the guy was a metahuman or anything. It was literally just some dude. Wally takes him down without even trying. So why did Iris have to be in there? Because the plot demands it. And so yeah, after all that build-up, it turns out this terrible arms dealer that the police have been tracking for months is just some normal dude in an empty warehouse. No big deal. Iris gets his attention. He's about to shoot her dead. And then Wally just punches him one time, and that's the end of it. It was actually kind of hilarious how easy it all was. So afterward, Joe is rightfully pissed off about Iris putting herself in danger for no reason, like a lunatic, when the cops were about to capture this guy anyway. And he's absolutely right. For someone who doesn't want to die, Iris was doing a pretty great job of nearly getting herself killed. But then Iris makes this tearful speech to Barry like, "Oh, Barry, why is it okay for you to risk your life but not for me?" Iris, you do understand that Barry has superpowers and you don't, right? Do you understand how the two things are not the same? Do you really need that question answered? Because if you need that question answered, it's only going to make you look stupider. And that is really not something you can afford when Barry fucking Allen is coming off like the smart one by comparison in this situation. Dumbass! But she's not finished, so Iris goes on about how she wants her life to matter and she can't lock herself away just because she might die in a few months. Which I had to facepalm at because, as I pointed out last week, Iris locking herself away, out of the city, out of the country, out of danger, far away from her future murder site, would be a pretty easy way to stop her murder from ever happening. So basically, Iris is causing her own murder to happen because she's too stubborn to do the smart thing. Remind me again why the show has been keeping this character around. Although, I did enjoy her explanation of how she knew she wouldn't die here if she's going to die in the future, completely ignoring the fact that they've already changed the course of events by having Wally capture Plunder instead of Barry, so her future murder might not even be a thing anymore. So basically, Iris walked into a life-threatening situation and put her chest against the barrel of a loaded gun held by a man who had no problems painting the wall with her blood, not because she knew she wouldn't die, but, say it with me, because she's a fucking idiot! I suppose I would be remiss if I didn't mention some stuff that was actually okay this week. Alright. Julian continues to be likable and useful, as does Wally, whose competence is proving to be a very welcome counterbalance to Barry's idiocy. It's no wonder Barry thinks Wally's going to be the one to save Iris. He's already a better superhero than Barry is. I mean, hell, I'd think the same thing if I were Barry. Also, Cisco and HR finally do some bonding here. Cisco has never liked HR until now, but he stuck his neck out to help the guy here because he wanted to pay him back for all the times that a different Harrison Wells made him feel better about stuff. So, these two finally make a connection, and this part is not bad. It felt genuine, and it's something that actually takes Cisco's history and builds on it rather than the writers just pulling something out of their asses for cheap, empty pathos like they did last week. So that part was good. Was it good enough to save the episode? No. No, it wasn't. I don't know what the hell's going on in this season. I mean, The Flash has never been a great show, but it used to have a couple redeeming qualities I could mention. I mean, not many, but they did exist. And at least it would occasionally produce an episode that was genuinely decent enough. But I mean, here in season 3, man, I'm grasping at straws to find something, anything that isn't so bad that it could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. It's like the show is finally starting to collapse under the weight of its own stupidity. I mean, these writers aren't even trying anymore, and I'm afraid there's worse to come. Okay. All right. FYI, guys, let's please try to stay on topic, okay? Because when we're talking about one show, that's the show we're discussing. So please don't ask me off-topic questions until the end. All right? It just helps with my ADD. So let's try to keep it related to the Flash right now, okay? And let's see if @BBizzleHoward has joined us yet. Okay. Looks like they are definitely teasing that Wally could be taking over for Barry as the Flash. I don't think they would have the guts to go through with it, though. No, they wouldn't. Even though it would undoubtedly help the show, though. Let's be honest. Honestly, I think the show is completely ignorant of how horrible Barry is. I think they honestly think he's a great superhero. The people who make this show. They're just they just completely have their heads up their asses, and they've got their heads in the sand, up their asses and in the sand, and they're turning a blind eye to how horrible Barry is. They honestly think he's a good superhero. It's pretty pathetic, actually. If they have the balls to go through with that, I'll watch this show for 8 seasons nonstop. That's big. Yeah. It would be. Julian is the smartest one on the team. Well, he certainly was this week. I think Julian is being used to troll the fans like us who always call out the dumb things the show does by him saying how stupid their plans are and then being called a dick for doing it. Could the show really be that self-aware? I don't know. I don't know if I'd give the writers that much credit. Because, I mean, if that's what they were doing, then Julian would turn out to be proven wrong in the end. And even Barry had to begrudgingly admit that his math wasn't wrong. And, he was shown to be useful and have good ideas here. So, I don't think that's what they're doing. Good idea, though. I hadn't thought of that. Can I also add that Gypsy is way hotter in the comic? Basically, she looked like Esmeralda from Disney's Hunchback. Okay. The fact that Cisco could beat her is dumb. I thought they would go the route of having her let him win, but no, it was legit. Makes no sense. Yeah, exactly. 1 minute he can't teleport in a straight line, and the next he's beating this woman who's like this unbeatable badass on her world. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The story arc they mentioned about the humans from another Earth invading, I think that actually happened in the comics. I forget exactly. Barry telling Cisco to go follow your instincts and then going and almost getting HR killed was unintentionally funny. Yeah, but Barry giving anyone superhero advice is pretty fucking funny. But then they went even further with it by having him try to give advice and then immediately falling over himself and Man, I laughed so hard at that promo for next week where Barry tells Wally, "I'm going to teach you everything I know." Really, Barry? Is that what you're going to do? Honestly, please don't. I think Wally would be better off if you didn't teach him anything about what you know. Because everything that you know is fucking wrong. Wow. Actually a big fan of Trial by Combat since, I don't know. I just kind of buy what ancient humans thought about if God believes you're innocent, you'll win. Well, alright, but I maintain that it makes no sense for a technologically advanced, civilized modern society. Because we have a justice system for a reason, and a trial by combat completely removes justice from the equation. It's like, it's not about right and wrong or who broke the law and who didn't. It's about who can outfight the other person. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't. It doesn't prove anything except who can fight better, and that's not justice. That's not the law. That's just barbarism. Which again, you'd think a modern, civilized, technologically advanced society would have abolished long ago. It didn't make sense to me. Like if some pedophile loser wants out of prison, give him a knife and put him in a ring with a Navy SEAL with a knife and see if fate or God or whatever is with him. Okay, but what if the bad person in question is a much better fighter than his accuser? Like this person is trying to arrest him, so he says, "Okay, well, I challenge you to trial by combat," and it turns out that the bad guy is like this super badass who just mops the floor with the police officer and then kills them. That means the bad guy would get off scot-free. That would mean that by the laws of trial by combat, he would be innocent. He would be proven innocent after he just killed and raped a whole bunch of people. Do you see the flaws in this trial by combat thing? I have a bad feeling that the writers will keep Iris alive for a surprise death killing Joe off. I don't know. Killing Barry's father figure 2 seasons in a row? I don't know. I think we do know that there's at least one death coming. I still maintain that it's going to be HR, or if not him, Julian. I think it's going to be one or both of them. Because they've got an easy out with HR. If he dies, they just go into the multiverse and pull out another HR. And Julian, he's just a guest star right now. My guess is he'll be this season's Eddie Thawne. He's there to fulfill some kind of purpose, and when that purpose is done, he's gonna get killed. That's what I think, anyway. I'm willing to cut the show and Iris a little bit of slack on this one. You think you're going to die, so you want your life to have meaning. It's a normal human reaction. Yeah, but it's a stupid human reaction. It's because if she would just think about this, she could come up with probably any number of ways how she could save her own life. Hell, I thought of one without even trying. This is not difficult. And she's... So instead of actually using her brain and thinking about it, she's just reacting like an idiot would. It's like every character on this fucking show is hardwired to always do the stupid thing, and that's what pisses me off so much. Yeah, that arms dealer. I was expecting like Catwoman or Riddler or Jerome or something. Yeah, no such luck. It's just some dude. Some random dude. My guess is Iris probably figures if she dies in the future, then she's bulletproof until that point in time when Savitar kills her. Yeah, but they already changed the course of events! They don't even know if she's going to die in the future anymore! They already established that her being murdered was not a sure thing. It was only just like one possible future. So, what if it's a possible future that doesn't happen? What if, by having Wally capture Plunder instead of Barry, they changed the whole paradigm, and now that future is off the table, so now maybe Iris can be killed by any rando with a gun. And Christ, the chances of that happening are pretty fucking good if she's just gonna walk right up to the guy, get in his face, and put her chest right to the barrel of the gun and say, fucking shoot me. You know? It's like, would you purposely put your fucking head in a lion's mouth if you didn't have to? No. Because you're not stupid. That's basically what Iris is doing here. I don't blame Cisco for trying to hit on Gypsy. I would have done the same thing. Yeah, that chick who's like trying to arrest and kill your friend. Yeah. Yeah, she's hot, so why not hit on her? Why the fuck not? Priorities, people. Yeah, me too, but that's not how time travel works. Otherwise, it would be impossible to alter the past or the present because we're someone's past. Eh. You should watch some of LOT now. It's actually grown immensely and become this satirical action adventure like Back to the Future or something. Really, it's like an 8 out of 10 now. I don't care. No. Guys, a bunch of you keep saying that Legends of Tomorrow has actually gotten a lot better. I don't care. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't give a shit. It could get 1,000 times better and I wouldn't care. You know why? Because as Linkara once pointed out, 1,000 times 0 is still 0. I don't care how good it is now. If you're enjoying it, great. More power to you. I don't give a shit. That's how bad Season 1 was. Season 1 broke me. I dropped the show, and it's staying dropped. I have no desire to ever watch it again. I fucking refuse. I absolutely fucking refuse. Okay. Thoughts on the XFL? That's a random question. Yeah, just save the off-topic questions for afterward, guys. Which world is crazier, ours or the Flash's? The Flash's, but ours is gaining on him, especially since the inauguration. In ancient times, you could choose someone to represent you. They figured the gods would protect you. Yeah, it's probably not how it works. If changing the past causes stuff to change in other worlds, does that mean another invasion, possibly by the Tamaranians? Well, I don't think so. They haven't changed anything in the past. I mean, they're changing things in the present, in their own time, which is basically just what people do all the time anyway. Because every action that you take creates a different potential outcome. So I guess the future is always in motion. So it's really no different from what they always do. I mean, they have knowledge of what's going to happen in the future, but they're still making different decisions in their own time. So it's not technically changing anything. At least not changing anything that could alter the timeline in horrific ways. Possibly involving a hot orange girls like Starfire and Blackfire. Hit fucking hand. Season 1 of LOT was pure shit. No argument there. Okay. That is all we've got for Flash questions. And it appears that at B. Bizzle Howard has decided not to accept my challenge. Possibly because he or she knew that he or she had no fucking argument and I would destroy him or her. Okay. Moving on. By the way, at B. Bizzle Howard, if you ever watch this, the offer still stands. Stop by the stream anytime and try to explain to me how Iris is the greatest thing ever, and I will prove to you, once and for all, how wrong you are. Offers open anytime you want to show up. Anytime at all. Moving on to Arrow. Season 5, Episode 11, Second Chances. Last week, Oliver decided that they need to look for a new Black Canary to replace Laurel. So just 1 week later, they find a woman who looks like Laurel, who is a crime-fighting vigilante like Laurel, who has a sonic scream like Laurel, and whose name is Dinah, like Laurel. Wow, that is a weird coincidence. I mean, what are the fucking odds, right? I mean, Oliver would have had a better chance of being hit by lightning on the same day he won the lottery. I mean, this is crazy. In fact, technically, her full name is Dinah Drake, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the exact same name as Laurel's mother and Quentin's ex-wife. Well, the coincidences just keep right on coming, don't they? For fuck's sake, Arrow. So So the team helps this woman take down a metahuman criminal who killed her partner when she was a cop. And after she blows them off, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times in one episode, she shows up in Oliver's office suddenly wanting to play nice. Meanwhile, Felicity gets contacted by some hacker groupie of hers, who gives her some Deus Ex Machina on a flash drive that magically gets Dave exonerated of all the crimes he was framed for. Just like that. Yeah, it's literally that easy. Wow. Okay. Alright. This Dinah Drake thing. Now, my Twitter peeps filled me in on who this character is. Apparently, there's more than one Black Canary in the comics, and she's the original one. Okay, alright, fine. But are you fucking kidding me with all this? The fucking instant Oliver starts his search for a new Black Canary, he finds this woman who is a fucking carbon copy of the last Black Canary. It basically is Laurel. All the way down to the sonic scream. Except with her, it's a metahuman power. I mean, she even has the same fucking name! How do you expect anyone, even fans of the comics, to swallow all this? I mean, this is taking coincidence to the point of absolute absurdity. This is like something a Green Arrow parody would do. Maybe it would be easier to swallow if the original intent hadn't been for Laurel's mother to be the real Dinah Drake. But apparently, so Dinah Drake is the mother, and Dinah Laurel Lance is the daughter, and then there's this other Dinah Drake out there who is like this. Who is also a vigilante and who also has a sonic scream and who... How do you expect us to take this seriously? For fuck's sake. But the really funny thing about this is that they essentially just pulled a Jimmy from Smallville with Laurel, where we follow a character for years, and then they get killed off, and it's revealed that they weren't the character we thought they were this whole time. They were just bullshit, and it's actually this new person who we're just meeting who's the real deal. I mean, yes, it was horse shit when Smallville pulled that stunt, and it's horse shit now. It's like they want to kill this character to raise the dramatic stakes, but they want to have their cake and eat it too, so then they introduce a replacement who's basically the exact same thing. Or in the case of The Flash, when they killed Barry's dad, the exact same fucking actor. Because these shows don't have balls, and when they kill off a major character, they just can't fucking commit to it. Arrow used to have balls, but not anymore, apparently. So now the actress playing Dinah Drake seems fine. You know, the character is likable enough, I suppose. But let's not pretend this was the plan the whole time, okay? Let's not do that. If it was the plan the whole time, then Laurel's mom wouldn't have had the same name as this chick by sheer coincidence. Because in the comics, Dinah Drake is the original Black Canary, then her daughter takes over for her. So clearly, Laurel was intended to be the Black Canary originally, but at some point, Guggenheim just decided to do a take back. That is a lot to process. Okay, so anyway, so we've got this new Black Canary now, or the girl who is going to become the Black Canary. So how does she hold up? Well, while I like the actress playing her, our introduction to this character isn't written very well. And by that I mean, they spend most of the episode, almost the entire thing, going around in circles with her. They make her an offer to join the team, she blows them off. They make her another offer to join the team after she murders someone right in front of them, and she blows them off. They make her another offer just to help her take down this criminal she's after, who she's just proven that she might have a lot of trouble with, and she blows them off a third fucking time. And only after Oliver reveals his identity to her does she decide to let them tag along. Then they watch her kill this other dude, and then she just takes off and leaves them holding their dicks. So that's blow off number 4. Jesus Christ, Arrow. Could you have written this woman any more stubborn? I don't know. Maybe they could have, because at least she shows up at the end and admits that murdering that asshole didn't make her feel better. So maybe this was another case like Renee, where the character starts out as this stubborn jackass and then gets over it eventually. I guess they just took Renee's character arc from the first 5 episodes or so of the season and then crammed it all into one episode. So maybe she'll be more likable next week? Or less stubborn, at least? To be continued on that. And the Felicity thing, I'm not sure what to say about it. But if you thought that it was way too easy that Oliver decided to go to Hub City to find Dinah, and then they literally find her in the very next scene, then this episode was just warming up. Because Oliver finds out that somebody in the NSA has a file on this shady general that got Diggs sent to prison. But even though Felicity can use a computer like a magic wand, she can't seem to find this file. So then this other hacker person who worships the ground Felicity walks on, worships her like a god, because that's like a prerequisite for every character on the show these days, just shows up from out of nowhere and gives Felicity this flash drive that instantly fixes everything. And that's how Dig gets out of prison. Okay, now obviously this whole Pandora thing is going somewhere. But I cannot believe that's how they resolve this Dig is falsely accused of treason thing. They didn't even they didn't even have to do anything to get him out. The solution was literally dropped in their lap. And the writers didn't do anything with Dig being recaptured and sent back to jail. I mean, he was just off screen for a while. I mean, why even put him back in prison at all if it wasn't going to go anywhere? I got a lot of conflicting feelings about this episode. I mean, the way they get Dig out of prison is ridiculously easy, and you have to swallow some epic, massive, absurd coincidences to accept this Dinah situation. And in her first outing, she is stubborn almost to the point where you want to smack her. So why then did I still kind of like this? I don't know. Maybe because Dinah does still show up at the end, showing that frustrating as she may be, she's still capable of growth. I don't know. Maybe the actress just sold me on it. And she's obviously a damaged person, so you can't expect her to make all the right decisions. Maybe it was that last scene with her and Oliver where they finally figure out how to relate to each other because of their similar experiences, and that felt genuine. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to trash this episode as much as it might deserve. Despite the less than perfect way they introduced Dinah, I do think she might turn out all right. So I ended up feeling okay about this one, even though I freely admit you could pick this thing apart all day long. Okay. Alright, still no sign of B. Bizzle Howard. The offer still stands. B. Bizzle Howard, just show up anytime and tell me why Iris is the greatest character ever. And I will tell you why you're wrong. Just want to have a dialogue here. Yeah, because I guess you're funny. You're fine trying to chew me out on Twitter, but when I ask to actually speak with you, no, that's where you draw the line. Yeah, that fucking figures. I'm not sure how I feel about Sarah and Laurel's runs as Black Canary just being a big red herring now. I hope they have bigger plans for... Yeah. Yeah. That's really something, isn't it? I think what bugs me about the whole thing more than... What bothers me the most is that it was just such an obvious retcon. Okay, it was so obvious that Dinah with Laurel and Sarah's mom being Dinah Drake, that it was originally intended to be Laurel who becomes the Black Canary. Like that was the original intent, but then at some point they changed their minds and decided to kill her off for cheap thrills or cheap drama, and then they realized that, oh, wait a minute, a Green Arrow show without Black Canary, that doesn't really work. The fans are angry. What do we do about this? Oh, well, there's another Black Canary in the comics. We'll just bring her back. And say, hey, look, it's the OG Black Canary. You see, we're taken from the comics canon, so that makes it okay, right? No. That's fucking sloppy as hell. It was obviously something they didn't have planned, probably not until this season. I mean, to have it be another fucking Dinah Drake when Dinah Drake is Laurel and Sarah's mother, you already set that up. It's just... That's what bugs me more than anything. It's just how sloppily the whole thing was executed, and how many holes you can just poke in this. I mean, this is the kind of thing that happens when you don't map out your stories well enough. I mean, Arrow is usually really good about that type of stuff. I don't know what happened. I hope they have bigger plans for Talia than just being in flashbacks. It'll be a waste otherwise. Oh, I suspect Talia will show up in the present. I mean, Talia is a really important character in the Batman comics. So I don't know why they would limit her to just flashbacks. I mean, we usually see that if someone shows up in the flashbacks, they usually show up in the present too. That's just how it works. I don't know why we're doing this with Talia when there are plenty of characters from the Green Arrow mythos that we could be using. But this show has always had a hard-on for the Batman mythos, hasn't it? In keeping with Gypsy, Dinah was way, way hotter in the comics. She was also blonde and known for having a huge rack. That was pre-Power Girl, even. Yeah, but it's real easy to create a woman like that in the comics. But the producers actually have to actually find an actor who looks like that, and that's a tall order. Okay, because if you look at Black Canary in the comics, most women in real life don't look like that. Not even a little bit. So I'm not going to make a big stink about it, because where on earth are they going to find a woman who looks like that, who fits the part? She probably doesn't exist. So if they've got somebody who can play the character well, you know what? That's enough for me. So the new Canary is Dinah Drake, the Golden Age Black Canary. She's Dinah Laurel Lance's mother in the comics. Did Flashpoint mess something up? Or is this a Smallville Jimmy situation? No, it's a Smallville Jimmy situation. That's what this is. And it's an obvious retcon that they didn't have planned. Probably until after they killed off Laurel, and then they realized that might not have been the best idea. Okay. Who is the actress playing her? I don't know. It's hoping for a Black Siren versus Dinah showdown sooner rather than later. They made it a point to acknowledge that she's a better fighter than Black Canary, than Black Siren, and has better control over her sonic scream powers than Black Siren does. So, I was reading a post about this on Tumblr today. How they just made sure to point out that this girl, Dinah Drake, is superior to Black Siren, because there were a lot of Laurel fans on Tumblr who were hoping that Black Siren was going to take over as Laurel, for Laurel. Like she'd get a redemption arc, and then she'd become the new Black Canary. And so they still get Katie Cassidy, because Katie Cassidy actually has a lot of fans on Tumblr apparently. And now they're pissed off because the producers put the line in the script how Oliver said, "Oh, she's better than Black Siren." So they think now the show is shitting on Laurel posthumously. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know. So yeah, There's a lot of pissed off Laurel fans on Tumblr right now. I went into the tag the other night just to watch the fireworks. It's funny stuff. You should check that shit out. But yeah, Black Siren versus Dinah Showdown. I'd imagine that'll happen at some point, and they'll have Dinah win, just to prove how superior this new Black Canary is. Because if they do that, maybe fans will forget about how pissed off they were when they killed Laurel. Because that actually did generate a lot of enmity in the fan community, surprisingly. You took me back. You took me back on Twitter, dude. Jimmy from Smallville. Wow, that was a huge shit on the fans moment. Yeah, this character that you've watched on the show for years was never actually the character you thought he was. His little brother, that's the character you thought he was, and this guy was just bullshit. How the fuck did Smallville get away with that? Jesus Christ. It's like, yeah, we want to kill this character, but we can't kill Jimmy Olsen. Okay, so we'll just say that he's not really Jimmy Olsen. That kid is Jimmy Olsen, and this guy, he's no one. He doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the fans thought he was Jimmy Olsen for years and developed an emotional investment in him. Oh, fuck it. We'll just say we were fucking with him the whole time. The fans will appreciate that, right? Yeah, as I pointed out a number of times, Smallville was not a good show. If this is supposed to be Dinah Drake, then she marries Arrow and has 2 daughters with him soon. Just saying. Wasn't it the daughter in the comics that Green Arrow married? Dinah Drake's the mother, and Dinah Lance is the current Black Canary, right? Isn't that the one that Green Arrow married in the comics? So, if we're sticking to comics canon, then wouldn't Oliver eventually marry Dinah's daughter? Be a pretty fucking huge age difference. But, yeah, we're probably not sticking to the canon on that one. Would you rather have a good actress or someone who looks like in the comics, but have Eva Marie levels of acting? Okay. A lot of debating about how hot or not hot the actress is. Don't really need to address that. It's not really what I'm here for. I think Dinah Drake was the Black Canary that got killed off in the Birds of Prey series. Okay, well, I don't really know anything about the Birds of Prey series. Not much at all. Again, not a DC guy here. I haven't read the comics. I think I read somewhere that Dinah Drake retired as the Black Canary in, like, the 80s. Like the early 1980s or something, and that's when Dinah Lance took over. Maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, the villain this week, wow, I had no idea who he was. Sonus, by the way, and since he's dead, no one gives a shit. Thanks, CW. Now, apparently, Sonus was a character from the comics. I believe Charlie from Emergency Awesome tweeted something about that. He had a panel from the comics with the guy. He had some kind of sonic weapon on his hand. I think he said that the character was created by... the hell's that guy's... one of the producers. Kreisberg? I don't know what the guy's first name is. Maybe. I don't know. But apparently he is a character from the comics. For all the good it did him. I'm just glad they didn't make Felicity the next Black Canary. Oh, man. Me too. For fuck's sake. You know, a lot of people were actually scared about that. It's like they've elevated Felicity's importance so fucking much. I know a lot of people were actually nervous that they were gonna do it. Like have the chip in her back that makes Felicity able to walk. They like upgrade the chip to where Felicity is suddenly this badass fighter or anything. Like they can just program the chip to make Felicity able to do like kick-ass martial arts stuff and have her become the next Black Canary. There were people that were actually nervous that were really nervous that was going to happen. And I can't say the thought didn't cross my mind. And wow, thank God they didn't do that because I mean, Felicity's taken over so many aspects of this show as it is. She doesn't need this, too. Oy. I almost forgot Talia. What was her thing? Like, is she important, or what happened to the other sister? The actress playing the other sister got a gig on another show. Yeah, they're doing a TV adaptation of the movie Training Day, and she's gonna be in that show apparently. So I guess they're not gonna have access to Katrina Law, I think is her name. So that's probably why they're introducing Talia. Yeah. It's like what the first Ninja Turtles movie did with the actor playing Shredder, but not the one who was doing most of the talking. That should have been the Shredder, like the nostalgia critics said. Yeah. What the fuck did they do to Shredder? It's like in the first movie, he was like an old guy, and then they just like switched out the actor, and now he's all young and shit and whatever. Jesus Christ. Don't get me started on that though. Okay, that gaming asshole is really focused on how hot this actress should be. Is this really that important to you, dude? Do you want the LOT crew to change the outcome of the election? If they did, would you watch the show again? No, I would not want them to change the outcome of the election, because then that would probably cause like a Thanagarian genocide, or a Tamaranian genocide, or some kind of genocide, and then we'd be invaded by aliens and shit. Or maybe that only applies when it's Barry mucking around with time travel, because when the Legends of Tomorrow do it, nothing happens. It's all hunky-dory. Now, they can muck around with time all they want, and then nothing happens. But no, I would not watch the show again. No. I can't do it. I can't go back, bro. Bit of advice, be careful crossing the liberals on the internet. I lost my original Twitter account because I said mean things to Movie Bob. These people are like vultures. I'm not saying anything that isn't true. I'm not saying mean things. I'm being calm and rational. And this person, at B. Bizzle Howard is still just... Jesus Christ, this is basically spam at this point. Yeah, I'm not saying anything mean. I'm not. I'm just stating, look, here's the way I feel. This is why. And this person is being the irrational one, accusing me, oh, you're biased against Iris and blah blah blah, and she's a wonderful character and such a great inspiration, and like, ugh. B. Bizzle Howard's tweets are now protected. Yeah? I scared him off. Dude, I went to this person's Twitter page just a little while ago. They weren't protected then. So, rather than coming on the show and actually debating this with me like an adult, at B. Bizzle Howard has retreated into his or her safe space, apparently. Yeah, very mature. Offer still stands, though. Birds of Prey was a TV show. It was awesome. Oh, no, it wasn't. I should know. I watched it. That was a bad show. Yeah, the chick who played Talia was on the show Andromeda in the 90s. Yeah, I know. I watched Andromeda, too. Well, I watched the first 2 seasons, and then they they kicked out the guy who created the show and just turned it into they just dumbed it down for Sorbo. Because like Sorbo wanted the original the original showrunner gone because the show was the writing was too intelligent for him, and he thought he should just dumb it down for all the idiots watching. And that's when I checked out, because they were actually it wasn't a great show by any means, but they were actually showing ambition and world building and telling an interesting story. And I was kind of getting into it, and then they just ditched the whole story and made it all like crappy standalone episodes for the rest of the show. So that's when I stopped watching. So good job, Sorbo. The Talia chick, or actually, yeah, her name was Lexa Doig. Yeah, she was the android on Andromeda. Yeah. When I said it was true too, I said things he said to me a decade ago, but these people are by definition irrational. Have you seen on YouTube Philip DeFranco's videos of the news? He has an objective take on news. No. Don't really go to news YouTubers though. There's one I do like a lot. Mundane Matt. You know Mundane Matt? Makes good videos. I like Mundane Matt. But let's try to keep things on topic here, guys, please. The LOT crew can change time without any consequences. At the end of last week, Rip was brainwashed by the Legion of Doom and shot George Washington. Yeah, I'm sure that won't cause any alien genocides or anything. Okay. Arrow and Flash this week sucked. Thank God for S.H.I.E.L.D. And on that note, let's move on to S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 4, Episode 12, Hot Potato Soup. The Watchdogs capture a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who they believe knows the location of the Darkhold, and turns out it's the returning Agent Koenig. So the team works on rescuing Koenig, which involves going to the source of the Koenigs and finding out what their deal is. Turns out they're not robots after all, which the show has a little bit of fun with at the end there. As if anyone would be stupid enough to think that the Koenigs were robots, am I right? I mean, who would be stupid enough to think a crazy thing like that? Anyway, back at the base, Fitz, Simmons, and Mac are trying to get intel out of the Radcliffe LMD, which stirs up some unresolved daddy issues for Fitz. But they get what they need, and they find out that May was replaced with an LMD just as Coulson is sticking his tongue down the LMD's throat. So some shit goes down, the May LMD is discovered and defeated, Koenig is saved, but Radcliffe and the Watchdogs now have the Darkhold. At least Coulson can breathe a sigh of relief that Radcliffe's plan was uncovered before he put his dick in a robot. So, first things first, I can't believe the writers didn't have Coulson put his dick in a robot. I was so sure that's where this was going. Like, they'd be right about to have sex, or they'd be in mid-coitus, or it would be like right after the sex, and then he discovers that May is not May, because it seemed like that would be the absolute messiest and most awkward way possible to deal with this. And the writers of this show love that kind of shit. And I'm not sure why they didn't go for it, because holy crap, the drama with May that would have been created from that. There was a similar situation on Battlestar Galactica at the end of that show's run, where where Boomer was impersonating Athena to smuggle Hera off the ship. And here comes Hilo, who thinks it's Athena, who thinks it's his wife, and Boomer has sex with him to keep her cover, and it gets really fucking messy. And it made for some great drama. Even if it was really fucking uncomfortable. I thought for sure, I mean, how could they pass that up? I'm thinking to myself. How could they not go there? I thought for sure it was going there. But no, they stopped. They held back. But while I do wonder about the missed opportunity there, I can't say I'm disappointed that they didn't do it, because as crazy and fucked up as it would have been, that kiss was more than enough to show me that I really didn't want to see it. I mean, no offense to all the Felinda shippers out there. If you like it, more power to you. But seeing this was like walking in on your parents for me. I mean, I was watching that through the cracks in my fingers, like, ew, 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 no, I don't want to see it, no, stop. Yeah. I know they were bound to explore this eventually, and a lot of fans want to see it, but I've just never been into the Felinda thing. I always preferred them as friends. But we're going down that road now, so all I can hope for is that at least it's not done poorly, and I don't think it will be, so whatever. But the real selling point of this episode was the return of the Koenigs. Patton Oswalt is back for the first time since season 2, and, we all know why he hasn't been on the show since then, but it's not the point. He's back now. And he's every bit as awesome as he was before. You had to love the way that cold open started, with the Koenigs just zipping by the screen, quoting lines from Star Wars and Back to the Future and all these geeky movies and shit. I mean, lots of references to famous sci-fi movies in this episode, actually. Of course, my favorite one had to be Terminator, when Ada punched through that dude's chest. They were really having fun with this stuff this week. But anyway, the Koenigs are really bringing the comedy here, so it's another really funny episode. But I think the funniest part had to be the origin of the Koenigs. Not because it was funny, but because of how they did it. Because the explanation itself is actually kind of absurd. I mean, fans have been wondering about the Koenigs since season 1. Are they LMDs? Are they something else? And then they reveal that the Koenigs are really just like identical quintuplets or something. What? Seriously? That's what you're going with? After all that build-up, that's the answer. I guess they kind of leave it up in the air that they might be clones or something, so maybe we're going to revisit this later on and then reveal more to the story. But right now, that's what they're going with. I'm hoping they're going to peel more layers off the onion later in the season, but for right now, this is what they're going with. You know what I think happened here? I think the writers did this intentionally. Like, people have been wondering about the Koenigs for so long, and now it's finally time to reveal it. But nothing could be as good as what the fans have imagined, as what the fans have built up in their minds since season 1. So let's just go in the complete opposite direction and troll the audience about it. What, you thought we were robots? That's ridiculous! Ha ha ha! I mean, was it kind of a cop-out? Yeah, maybe, but in a weird way, I have to respect the writers for going to such great lengths to prank the audience like that. I mean, love it or hate it, they committed to that shit. And that took some guts. So, Radcliffe and Charles Vane from Black Sails are trying to get the Darkhold's location out of one of the Koenigs, and I continue to be impressed with how they're keeping Radcliffe so morally gray without making him stereotypically evil. I mean, he's definitely a villain at this point, but he also stops the scary Russian dude from torturing Koenig because he doesn't want that. Which, okay, he's a bad guy, but he doesn't want anyone to get tortured. Interesting. So he's a villain with a twisted moral compass, but he still has a conscience. Or at the very least, a weak stomach. Yeah, that's intriguing to me. And you had to love when they were mapping Koenig's brain and Radcliffe thought he was making a bomb or something, but it turned out to be a Darth Vader clock. Hey, did you know that Disney owns Marvel now? And Star Wars, for that matter? So while this is going on, Fitzsimmons and Mac are interrogating the Radcliffe LMD, who reveals that he or the real Radcliffe knew Fitz's asshole deadbeat father, who treated him like shit and walked out on him. And that's another thing fans have been wondering about for a long time. We know that Fitz was raised by his mom, but his dad has never been mentioned until now. And, a lot of fans, myself included, thought that was intentional, because his dad was probably not a good guy. And suddenly we get this big info dump on him, which makes me think we're going to be seeing this person at some point this season. It's really nice character stuff with Fitz here. It fits right in with what the fans have theorized about him for a long time, that his dad was abusive or ran out on them or whatnot. They got cute with the Koenig reveal, but here they kept it nice and simple, and it all works. And I like how they were able to tie together all the times that Fitz has been betrayed by people he trusted into this recurring pattern in his life, rather than just a bunch of stuff that happened by accident in the writer's room. That was nice. So we got a couple cliffhangers now. Radcliffe and Ada still have the real May, who Coulson is really anxious to get back after he didn't get the chance to put his dick in the robot May. Fitz's dad wanted Radcliffe to tell Fitz something important, which we don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's going to come back. And also the scary Russian dude thinks Coulson is responsible for all the alien threats that have attacked the Earth. Even the Kree, who came to Earth thousands of years ago. I'm not sure why he thinks that. That part was weird. But if it's what I suspect, and this is going to lead to Coulson's resurrection finally being made public, so he doesn't have to pretend to be dead for no reason at all anymore, then I welcome it. With open fucking arms. It makes no sense that they're still keeping that a secret. And they're really stretching it now, what with how so many people, public figures and what have you, saw Coulson in last week's episode when him and Yo-Yo got caught breaking into Nadir's office. I have no idea why this is still a secret, but this storyline could lead to it not being a secret anymore. So let's do this thing, S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's do this. Really fun episode here. The Koenigs are awesome. There was some great character building stuff with Fitz. And even though I found it kind of icky, the Felinda shippers finally got that kiss that they can make gift sets out of until they're blue in the face. Even if it was just Coulson kissing a robot. So it was a good episode. Really enjoying the LMD arc so far. And that, as they say, is that. Wonder if there will be a Quake Black Widow shipping start now because of this episode. I'm pretty sure there was a Quake Black Widow shipping fandom starting at about 10:01 p.m. Tuesday night. Yeah, that stuff starts pretty quickly. Okay, please try to stay on topic here, guys. But have you ever watched The Nostalgia Chick? Yeah, watching her for a long time. Since pretty much since she showed up on thatguywiththeglasses.com, back, before it became Channel Awesome. But yeah, I watched her when she was the Nostalgia Chick. I watch her now that she's just Lindsay Ellis doing that new show that she's doing now. I forget the name of it. This is going to drive me nuts. But whatever. Whatever, she's on YouTube. She does videos. I subscribe. I follow her on YouTube. I'm subscribed to her. I watch her videos whenever she uploads a new one. She's really good. Always liked her videos. The Oswalds are like the MCU version of the Multiple Man, calling it. I suspect there may be more to it than what we saw here, because if they're just like identical quintuplets, really, that's a big stretch. That's a big stretch just in the name of pranking the audience. So maybe there's more to it than that. I don't know. I felt horrible for the two LMDs they killed, but I guess because I feel that everything self-aware has a soul, including self-aware AIs. Yeah, that's something that they continue to bring up. It's still an issue. We saw the Radcliffe LMD talking to Mac about that. They have a conversation. It's like, hey, do I not have a soul? Am I not a person? And Mac doesn't think so, apparently. And but it's a question that continues to be raised, and it's a thought provoking question. I like that they're exploring this. Okay, guys, please try to stay on topic. We're talking about Shield right now. Off topic stuff comes at the end, and I can't just keep saying that and then answering off topic questions anyway. So please save your off topic stuff until the very end, please, because my ADD kind of requires me to stay on topic here so I don't lose track of myself. Like, my argument is, if it feels it has a soul, cats, dogs, mice, humans, we're all someone's pieced together experiment. AIs are our pieced together experiment. Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat there. I think if it's self-aware, if it can think for itself, then it's a person. Maybe not how some people define personhood, but I think that's enough to sell it for me. Let's see. They said there were people doing fan fiction about Tio in this episode. Yeah. Yeah, I expect a deluge of quack fanfics to show up anytime now. So I guess Radcliffe has no problem with Ada killing people now. Well, I guess if she's killing bad people, it's a little bit different. Yeah, he does seem to be getting slowly desensitized to it, though. Might be something to keep an eye on. Would be interesting if the leader of the Watchdogs turned out to be Fitz's father after Radcliffe brought him up. That's my theory. I think it was really I don't think it was a coincidence that we finally got all this big info dump about Fitz's dad in this episode, and then at the very end, Coulson says, "Yeah, we got the identity of the person behind the Watchdogs, but they don't say his name." I think that could turn out to be Fitz's dad, because it's a former colleague of Radcliffe's. Radcliffe knew him. Radcliffe is with the Watchdogs now. Yeah, Radcliffe saw Fitz's dad just recently, and the dad had a message for Fitz. We don't know what the message was. I think it does stand to reason that the person behind the Watchdogs is going to end up being Fitz's dad. I could easily see that happening. I think it'd be really cool, too. Even though I kind of wanted it to be Ian Quinn. I mean, because Ian Quinn is still out there somewhere. And he's still got the Gravitonium with Graviton trapped in it. Nice little Easter eggs at the end with the photos of Coulson from Iron Man 2 post-credit scene in the Thor movie. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, I'm glad Felinda is still on target. Aim for the stars, Phil. Okay, so we got one Felinda shipper here. Okay, well, to each their own, I guess. So are the Koenig's brothers robots or clones? The world may never know. So I guess right now the show is saying they're brothers. There may be more information to be revealed about them later. Because like I said, I think they left it up in the air that they might be clones. We don't know yet. But right now, brothers is what the show is going with. I want to guess that Robot May will maybe become Jocasta. I think it's unlikely. As Radcliffe did say that Robot May wasn't meant to last, and it didn't appear as if they were going to fix her. But who knows? And you brought up Jocasta, several times before, and it hasn't worked out ever. So I don't think so. You think Fitz's dad could be involved with the Watchdogs? Yeah, I do. Suspect he may be the guy behind the Watchdogs, actually. They did a good job making the audience feel bad for LMD May in this episode. She has to give Radcliffe the book even though she really doesn't want to, and then she was programmed to die right after. Yeah, she kind of got fucked over, didn't she? She really drew the short straw. The thing with Fitz's dad annoys me. Either begin a story or don't, but don't hint at one and then cop out with nothing. Well, I think that's what they did here. They began a story. and hinted at story. I don't think there was a cop out here. They mentioned Fitz's dad for a reason, so obviously there's going to be more to the story later. Okay. The way the LMDs get shit on this series is like, wow, what do these people have against AIs? Well, maybe there's a prejudice against AIs because of the Ultron situation. Yeah. Is the worst written character on S.H.I.E.L.D. still better than the best written character on The Flash? Wow. Well, who the hell would the best written character on The Flash be? Yeah, they're all pretty bad, especially this season. Best written character on The Flash. Joe, possibly. Nah, he still did that crazy shit with Wally's Chrysalis. So, actually, best written character in The Flash right now is probably Julian, because at least he hasn't done anything unbelievably stupid yet. He might be the only one left who hasn't. Worst written character on S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a badly written character on S.H.I.E.L.D. But to answer your question, probably yes would be my answer. Radcliffe is MCU's the leader, calling it. No. The leader is a different character. And wasn't that who Tim Blake Nelson's character was turning into in the Incredible Hulk movie at the end there? Pretty sure he was. So many callbacks in this episode. Ward, Quake, Sky. Oh, Quake with Sky. The Koenigs are back. Daisy is actually a hacker. Everyone still remembers Bobby and Hunter, plus Tony Stark and Black Widow. Yeah. Paying homage to the show's history instead of just retconning it away. What a concept. Will Spider-Man be incorporated into AOS, or have there been references to Spider-Man already? No Spider-Man references yet. Will he be incorporated into the show, as in like guest starring? I highly doubt it. We may see some references to him at some point. The worst S.H.I.E.L.D. character could handle his own spin-off on the CW, but that's another story. Oy. Did you imply that Coulson has a sex bot? Dude, they came real close to him having a sex bot. Then they backed out at the last minute. But that's almost where they went with that. Question: Is that if that potion that gives Mace powers is a thing, why not give it to the whole army? It has no discernible counter effects. Well, that's a good question. I don't think they've answered that yet. Possibly this stuff is highly experimental. It could be still in the testing phase. Maybe like Mace is like a guinea pig to them, possibly. But yeah, that's actually a really good question, because we know they've been trying to replicate the super soldier formula for a long time, since Captain America the first movie. So why they haven't put it into mass production yet? Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's still experimental. Maybe there are side effects and we just haven't seen them yet. Could be a storyline coming up in the future. The show is finally giving Fitz some backstory. It's going to be interesting to see what he was like before joining S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, it's about damn time we got some backstory for him. Jesus, I think we've got backstory on everybody else. Yeah, but Fitz's pre-S.H.I.E.L.D. life was still very undefined and vague there. So it was nice to fill in a few blanks with him. It's safer to give them all mega steroids than let soldiers fight Loki on their own. Safer to give them mega steroids than let soldiers fight Arrow on their own, let alone someone like Spider-Man or Hulk or something. Okay, yeah, I think we've established that this thing, the super strength formula, that it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that they haven't put this into mass production. Maybe that'll be a storyline coming up. Maybe there's a reason why they haven't done that. We don't know yet. If Coulson is revealed to be alive and to the public, won't that mean we might see Amy Acker back as the cellist? Possibly, if Amy's not doing anything. I mean, I guess they'd have to address that. I see no reason that revealing Phil is alive is a problem. Say he faked his death for his country, bang, no further explanation needed. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really has made no sense why they've been keeping him alive, keeping his resurrection a secret this whole time. It's one of the biggest... It's one of the weirdest things about the MCU. Their insistence that Coulson has to stay dead to the public. I don't know why they're... It's never made sense to me. It's probably the biggest question mark in this entire expanded universe. They have just been, until now, they have just been fucking adamant that no, he's dead. To the public, to the Avengers. He's dead. We can't reveal it. Why? No reason, we just can't. Never understood it. I thought of a cool reveal of a potential leader of the Watchdogs besides the Superior and Agent Blake. How about Agent Calderon from Season 2? Plus he wants payback from Skye in Season 2. Which one was Agent Calderon again? Oh, was he Kirk Acevedo? That character? He didn't really strike me as a big deal, just some dude. Of course, Agent Blake was pretty much just some dude. So, who knows? We never did find out what happened to that guy. Thoughts on Amy Acker? Kick-ass actress. She's been great in everything I've seen her in. And she was Fred on Angel. So she's got that going for her. And that is S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, now you guys can ask me off-topic questions. We got any questions about Riverdale? Because I can talk about Riverdale a little bit. Wasn't really sure what to make of this at first. I watched it twice. First viewing, I was kind of meh on the whole thing. I liked it a lot better on the second viewing. I felt kind of just uneasy about Archie comics getting the gritty Hollywood reboot treatment, but I have to admit, the more I watched it, the more I found something just oddly fascinating about the whole thing. I don't know, the cast seems pretty good. I think Betty. I think the Betty right now is clearly the standout, and the actress playing her. Although I instantly kind of gravitated towards Jughead, even though he was really only in one scene, because he shows up at the diner and he's like kind of he seems like kind of a weirdo, and he's a little detached from everybody else, and he doesn't seem like interested in girls or parties or like people in general. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Jughead. Well done. I think the biggest issue is that the show is about Archie, and right now Archie is the least interesting character on it. Like seriously, they could make the show about Betty and Veronica, and it would probably be a lot better. Because I mean, their scenes are so much more engaging when it's just the two of them before Archie shows up. Because I don't know, they're trying to subvert so many tropes about Archie, about the comics, But they're kind of keeping Archie sort of the same, how he's just some dude who, like, every girl seems to have a thing for some reason. And I don't really get it. I guess the only girl who doesn't seem interested in him right now is Josie. Unfortunately, Josie comes off like a bitch. It's like he asks her to he asks her like to talk about music stuff, and she's like, "No, go away. Not gonna happen. Get out." It's like he literally only asked you if he could talk to you about some songs that he wrote. That's it. He just wanted to talk. And then she completely blows him off. I was like, why is Josie such a bitch in this version? So that was kind of strange. But then on the reverse side, we have Veronica, who's supposed to be a bitch in the comics, but is actually a lot nicer here. So they sucked out Veronica's bitchiness and gave it to Josie. I don't know why, but I like it for the most part. Like I said, watched it twice, and I liked it. The more I watched it, the more I liked it. So we'll see. I don't know what happened on the episode, the new episode tonight. I heard it was like a Betty Spotlight episode, so that's cool. She was certainly the most charming thing about the pilot. So you know what? I think this show could turn into a guilty pleasure show for me. I think I'm going to keep watching for a little bit and see what happens. Thoughts on Joe's main roster debut? I think it was pretty cool. I didn't actually see it when it aired, because by that point I had turned the show off because it was time to record the HeelCast episode for the week. Unfortunately, I kind of sucked on that episode. I was pretty distracted, but I watched it afterward. You know what? It's cool. I'm happy for Joe. You know, he's worked hard for a long time. He deserves to get the star treatment and get rich. Kind of sucks for Rollins, though, because he might miss WrestleMania again. Because get re-injured the same knee. That is bad luck. That's not good. It's like the same knee with like the same type of injury or something. That's bad. So yeah, that's some rotten luck. Rude being the NXT champion, same thing as Joe. You know, good for him. I'm happy for him. Good luck to him. I think Batman: The Dark Knight and Star Wars: The Force Awakens would be. I would think that Batman: The Dark Knight and Star Wars: The Force Awakens would be in your top movie list. They both got highly praised, but I was disappointed with The Force Awakens. In my top movie list, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I have a top movie list because my favorite movies tend to change a lot. I don't know if there are a whole lot of movies that are always on the list. I guess Fight Club would always be on the list. The Incredibles. The Dark Knight. Yeah, I think The Dark Knight would probably be on there. Also, Batman Begins. What the hell else? Force Awakens? Yeah, I don't know. I did very much love The Force Awakens, even though it was lifting from A New Hope, too much. I would have preferred a more original story, but I know I can understand why they did it that way. I don't know if it would be on my all-time favorites, but it was certainly very pretty high up there. What do you think of the Runaways cast reveal today? Did they have a cast reveal? Hold on. I gotta look. This is the first I'm hearing about that. Marvel's Runaways cast. Runaways. Marvel announces cast for Hulu series. Okay. I've never actually read the Runaways comics. I've only flipped through them. Okay, we got a slideshow here. Alex Wilder, played by a guy whose name I can't pronounce. He doesn't have the big hair. I think that's the dude that turns evil in his second story arc. Okay, never heard of the actor. but whatever. Ooh, Nico Minoru was played by a hot Asian chick. I do like my hot Asian chicks. Cool, cool. Again, never heard of the actor before. Guess she kind of looks like Nico, though, so that's all right. Carolina, played by Virginia Gardner. Never heard. I got another actor I've never heard of. I guess she kind of looks like Carolina. Maybe they can. I don't know if they're gonna dye her hair or CG the hair or whatever, but I guess she kind of looks like Carolina should look. Okay, Gert Yorks. Wasn't it Gertie? Gertie Yorks? I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard of any of these actors. I don't know. Give her some glasses. I guess she looked the part fine. Okay. Let's see. Chase Steen, played by Greg Sulkin. Alright, whatever. Molly Hernandez, played by a girl who looks way too old to be 12. Allegra Acosta. Molly Hayes, not Hernandez. All right, so we're getting a little. I think we're getting some race bending here. Nothing too egregious, so I'm not gonna make a big stink about it. I don't see any casting choice that looks way off the map. Molly doesn't look like I imagine Molly would look. How old is this girl? I don't know. She doesn't look 12, that's for sure. But it's I don't know. It looks okay. I have very little knowledge of the Runaways comics, so I guess I can't really comment on it. But, you know, Marvel hasn't screwed up on a casting choice yet, so they've earned our trust by now. Yeah, plus, it looks like the Cloak and Dagger news last week was wrong. Yes, yeah, it was. That was like a red herring or something. Olivia Holt and Aubrey Joseph are the real casting for Cloak and Dagger, and I actually like these actors a lot better. I looked at the picture a couple days ago, and that definitely looks more like how I imagined Cloak and Dagger would look. You know, Dagger looks more like Dagger, and Cloak has a darker complexion. And don't play the racism card. All right, look at the fucking comics. Cloak is dark as hell, and you know, Noah Gray, Cabby or KB or whatever his name is, he's the right ethnicity, I guess, but he's a lighter skinned guy. That's not Cloak, and that's the whole thing. You know, one is light, one is dark, and the dark guy needs to be fucking dark. That's the whole thing. That's the aesthetic. So these actors look a lot more like how I imagine Cloak and Dagger should look. So I like that choice better. Do you ship Betty and Veronica? Well, I did read the Archie Comics Digest as a kid. And, you know, I'll still flip through one occasionally if I'm in a store and I see one. I was always on Team Betty. Always. She was actually my first comic book crush. So I was, if Archie had to get with one of them, I was always on Team Betty. That was before that I knew all about, you know, how messy and complicated the shipping stuff can get, and now it can be a thing that the girls can end up together, because that's, you know, as Legend of Korra showed us, they had to tease that in the fucking Riverdale pilot, where I swear they put this in they shot that just so they could put it in the trailer just for fucking titillation, because they had Betty and Veronica kiss in one scene, and then they instantly call it out like, hey, full lesbian kissing hasn't been a big deal since like 1994 or some shit. So it was just there for titillation, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Betty and Veronica getting together can actually be a thing in this show. Based on what I saw in the pilot, I think it would be a really interesting way to go, at least until Archie becomes a bit less dull and bland. As I understand it, he gets better in the episode that aired tonight, so we'll see. But yeah, Archie needs to get more interesting, because right now Betty and Veronica are just like way more intriguing to me. Jughead is different in this one. So far, I think he kind of he felt like Jughead in like his one scene in the pilot episode. He felt like Jughead. I mean, they're obviously changed him, made him like a more of like a bit of a brooding loner maybe, but he felt like Jughead to me. But we'll see. Well, let's see if they continue with him. The thing about him not being interested in girls and only caring about like finding his next hamburger or something like that. I suspect they won't. But well, yeah, we'll see. Veronica over Betty always. No, dude, no way. Veronica's way too high maintenance, man. Now she's different in the Riverdale show, but in the comics, no, Veronica's kind of a bitch in the comics. Way too high maintenance. No, Betty, she seemed like she's a lot easier to please, and she's a lot sweeter too. Plus, she can cook. Yeah, Veronica, you drive yourself nuts trying to please a girl like that. Plus, her dad hates Archie, so yeah, you'd have to deal with that. So yeah, I was always on Team Betty, always. Olivia Holt from Kickin' It. I guess I've never seen or heard of that show. Was that a Disney show? Because I think she's from the Disney Factory. I don't know. And Jughead was like that in the comics, but a little more lighter. Yeah. It kind of seemed like from the pilot that this is Jughead just a little bit of a darker turn for him, a little bit more of a mature take on him. But it still felt like Jughead to me. That's one of the casting decisions I thought they just friggin' nailed. Thoughts on another Orton Cena match at Mania? I don't think it'll happen. Oh boy. It's either going to be Orton and Cena, or it's going to be Orton versus Bray Wyatt, and I don't know which choice interests me less. I really have no desire to see either one. Okay, so either Orton is going to face the guy that he's faced 1,000,001 times before already, or he's going to face a guy who the ship sailed on a long time ago. Bray Wyatt has become a fucking joke. New face of fear. New face of fear, my ass. You're the new farce of fear. The guy who never wins big matches, who talks a ton of shit, says that I am a god. I am I am like this, that, and the other thing, and then he just loses all the time. Bray Wyatt's a fucking joke now. I couldn't care less about either matchup. That's what's really sad about the whole thing. Yeah, they changed it. And now they're saying that Cena's likely match at Mania is a mixed tag with Nikki versus The Miz and Maurice. Wow, that is kind of really fucking lame. So what, they're going to do a mixed tag with Miz and Maurice with a month of build-up? That is really fucking stupid. Thoughts on Reigns versus Taker as a passing the torch moment? Yeah, don't count on it. Rollins may be back before WrestleMania. Possibly. It's going to be a photo finish, though. Watched Powerless tonight. I like Vanessa Hudgens, but not much else to really care about. Vanessa Hudgens is cute. That's about it. I love Alan Tudyk. He's awesome. But I don't have much interest in watching the show at all. I was not impressed with the promos, the trailers for it. It didn't look funny. It just looked really broad and over the top, like they were trying way too hard. Like I said last week, the trailers make it look like this is a show that some studio executive who's never read a comic book in his life would think appeals to comic fans. So I don't know. Maybe I'll check out an episode if I read some good reviews or something. But right now, I really don't have much of an interest. What did you like about The Incredibles? I don't know. It's just a great movie. Yeah, I watched it again the other night because my internet was out and I was bored, so I watched it while I was making dinner. It's just a great movie, a great superhero movie. Yeah, but it's also just a really great, well-made fucking movie. That's in Kevin Kelly leaving ROH. I don't have any. What's in the XFL on ESPN? I have no thoughts on the XFL. None. It was a colossal failure. It didn't work. And considering all the money Vince lost on it, he probably wishes he'd never thought it up. Hottest Asian chick in your opinion that I know of? Probably Anna Akana. Or maybe Lauren Shiyahama. If you don't know who she is, she's a model who used to be one of the Deal or No Deal girls, like back when that show was on years ago. Um, I only mention her because I discovered some Deal or No Deal repeats on like the game show channel when I was on when I'm on the treadmill because I usually use the treadmill in the afternoon. Um, and I found like Deal or No Deal reruns on there, so sometimes I watch those. And I remember, Lauren Shiyahama, always loved her. Number 8. Oh God. But yeah, Anna Akana is really hot too and funny. I love the fun. I love girls that are funny. Do you watch The Late Show with Stephen Colbert? No. Watch some clips on YouTube once or twice, but if I'm going to watch a late show, it's going to be Conan O'Brien. Okay, let's try to wrap this thing up. What's the point of another Goldberg versus Brock match? Goldberg is 3-0 against Brock, dating back to their awful Mania match, and it would be awful if Goldberg beats Owens for the Raw belt at Fastlane. The point is for Brock to get his win back, because Brock is staying and Goldberg is leaving. In the near future, so they gotta, they gotta give their monster his win back. They can't just have Goldberg go undefeated against Brock. That's just not good business. I'm only saying that because that last part because there's a rumor of Goldberg versus Kevin Owens at Fastlane. Well, I already theorized that would happen. Of course, my theory involved Brock winning the Rumble because I assumed this was going to be the main event. But yeah. I figured Brock wins the main event, then Goldberg wins the title from Kevin Owens, and then they meet in the main event of WrestleMania for the title and have their big blow-off match where Brock finally gets the win back. Okay. And that appears to be about it. All right. Well, this person that I've been I've been going back and forth with on Twitter, who keeps on insisting that I am completely wrong and that Iris is the greatest character of all time and is really important and such an inspiration to so many fans. Well, that person never showed up. Unfortunately, I was actually looking forward to debating with this person because, well, I was going to completely destroy them. But yeah, now he or she just decided to go away rather than actually debate with me. So that's unfortunate. Please don't spam him or her though. That's not going to accomplish anything. Just leave him alone. So I guess that's going to be about it. Maybe this whole Iris thing will blow over now, or maybe all the SJWs will come out of the woodwork next Tuesday and get in my face again about this. Maybe if this happens again, I'll invite them all to the stream again and see what happens. see if any of them show up next week. But that'll be it for tonight. I will see you guys on Saturday, which is now tomorrow. So yeah, Saturday afternoon at sometime for the Impact stream. And anything else? Follow me on Twitter at TheRealFK9. I will talk to you guys on Saturday. Thanks everyone for joining me tonight, and over. Out.